So SolidEdge 2023. Before I dive into the nitty-gritty of all the new enhancements, I do want to spend a quick minute or two just talking about the overall Siemens digital industry strategy and really what SolidEdge its role is in that. There's a lot of talk lately around the world, various industries about digital transformation. IDC did a survey recently where the focus was on small to medium business manufacturing and this overall digital transformation that I'm talking about. They surveyed hundreds of companies around the world, asking them about, their strategies, their plans, any progress they've had, and very importantly, 72% of these companies believe that digital transformation actually helps level the playing field for smaller businesses versus the larger competitors. So again, this is key. Now, a second part of that survey was technology priorities, talking about cloud computing and SaaS, or software as a service, right? A couple more buzzwords that I'm sure I've heard about. And nearly a third of these companies that were surveyed said that they were prioritizing cloud computing and SaaS solutions. And actually nearly half of these companies said that these two things would be a priority for them in the next 12 months. And one of the overall notes that they made was, cloud is a great enabler for collaboration and analytics. And that's a good way to put it, because it's not really just about the cloud, right? The cloud, yeah, sounds fancy, sounds cool, but really the benefit is what you gain from it. And collaboration is one of the key things that you're gaining from this cloud technology. So I want to briefly mention a customer that I personally worked with myself that's actually leveraging these new powerful cloud collaboration tools. Harsh International in Colorado. They are manufacturers of auto machinery, industrial equipment, hydraulic hoists, like you see here. They're using the new SolidEdge SaaS products to collaborate more effectively, reduce their design development time by as much as 80%. I mean, that's incredible, right? I mean, you hear, improvements of, 5, 10, 20% are great. Imagine 80%, right? So this is just one example of many. So we at Saratech and Siemens, of course, love seeing these stories, right? And Siemens is, of course, committed to that, right? And you can see from this chart over the last several years, Siemens has done a phenomenal job of acquiring various companies to help with this digital transformation of companies, bringing in all these different software capabilities into a single portfolio that you can use. They've invested over $10 billion. It's actually quite impressive. And what's also interesting to note is Siemens obviously is a global conglomerate, right, of many different software businesses. But this digital industry software business is just one of many. And they're actually one of the top 10 software companies in the world. But what's great is that they actually, they are an engineering company, right? They have all these different divisions and they use their own software. That's where we get some of those extra advantages. Now, the result of all these investments is one of the newer terms is this Xcelerator, and that's a catalyst for this digital enterprise, right? The digital twin. And again, what this Xcelerator is a comprehensive integrated portfolio of software services and, of course, application development as well, programming. Now, SolidEdge is basically one of a few different on-ramps to this digital transformation. So as most of you might know, SolidEdge is focused on, or what tends to be focused on, small to medium-sized businesses, but that doesn't mean that larger enterprises don't use it. Many actually do. And there's so many different tools, from obviously mechanical design to electrical, simulation, manufacturing, publications, many different things. And we're going to talk about a lot of these enhancements here. All right, here's just an example of one of those larger companies, right? I don't speak French, but this company, Chantier de Lanty, they actually use SolidEdge for their cabin design. So again, just an example of a larger company that's actually been using these new cloud collaboration tools to help them bring some advantages. So let's jump into some actual enhancements to SolidEdge 2023. Now, what you see here are actually images. These aren't pictures, right? These are actual renderings, right, in SolidEdge. And this company is called Yanu. They're based out of Estonia. only 2019, right? So pretty new company, but with how powerful SolarEdge and all its portfolio tools are, they've been able to create this fully autonomous bartending robot. It actually uses AI technology. It obviously serves drinks, but it even handles the payments. It identifies and communicates with the clients, right? You're standing there. It's obviously contactless. Dealing with COVID days, it's obviously hygienic and most importantly, highly efficient. So with 2023, Siemens really is again pushing the boundaries of product development, trying to get you all to your digital twin. Right, there's many different enhancements, simplified modeling workflows. There's value-based licensing, there's tokens. That's one of the huge ones. SolarEdge SaaS, like I already got into, improved interoperability with other Siemens programs. There's a new SolarEdge Inspector add-on tool available, Kanban board. There's so much to talk about. All right, so the SaaS. I got into this a little bit before, but let me talk a bit more about it. So the whole point of SaaS is, right, is this next generation of kind of cloud-based technologies that's really designed to help you all collaborate with colleagues, partners, suppliers, customers in a secure environment. Obviously, very important for it to be secure. There's many benefits that come with this. Now, SolarEdge is always going to be the heart, right? It's going to be the foundation of your product development process, right? With its powerful mechanical CAD, manufacturing, and other capabilities. But there's a new way to consume or use or access SolarEdge, and that's, of course, the SaaS or Xcelerator that we're talking about here. So data management and security, right? You have the ability to store your data securely in the cloud and share it with others. You have augmented reality, right? The ability to grab your iPad or phone and actually see your product in the real world. Collaboration, right? Everybody's working from a single source of truth, right? You don't have broken links and looking at an older revision, right? You're effectively collaborating, and again, you can share that data, so you can work with customers, suppliers, and so on. And again, that mobility, right? The flexibility of being able to do all of this anywhere, anytime, on any device. And one of the newer things is tokens or value-based licensing. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later, but this is a great enhancement to SolarEdge 2023, where you can access some of the different add-on capabilities to SolarEdge that you may not use all the time. So again, I'll get back to that a little bit later. So with Xcelerator Share, and some of you that may have already been using Xcelerator Share or SolarEdge Portal, which kind of was the predecessor to Xcelerator Share, they've made some great enhancements to Xcelerator Share. You can see this new modern dashboard helps you understand the status of your project with some of the other Siemens portfolio projects. So there's access to over 2,000 Siemens software subscriptions now. I doubt any of you are. Almost impossible to use so many different products, of course, but it gives you that access, right? Siemens again has done a great job, acquiring different companies, giving you access to all the tools you might need for your product development, right? And all of the SolarEdge portfolio tools are integrated with this Xcelerator Share. So what you get with this Xcelerator Share is 500 gigabytes of storage, which is great. And actually, each additional license, each additional subscription license that you have increases that by 5 gigs each. So let's say you have 10 users, each of those, or 10 licenses, each of those 10 licenses gives you 5 more gigs each. All right, so let's look at some of the core mechanical CAD or design enhancements. Now, hopefully, a lot of you have been using synchronous technology for a while. I know some of you don't, right? There's some particular workflows that you might still prefer the ordered traditional history-based approach, but they've actually done quite a bit with that. So let's take a look at a couple of things here quickly. Synchronous technology, it actually has been somewhat, I don't want to say moved, but it's now accessible or usable in ordered mode, or the traditional history-based ordered mode, right? So this really increases your productivity. Again, right, you're still in order. You're not switching to synchronous mode. You just have the synchronous tools, the steering wheel, for example, in the ordered mode. Right, so this is a great maybe a stepping stone if you have been thinking about getting into synchronous, but you're a little hesitant. Right, you actually have some of those synchronous tools now in order. You can start looking into it. For example, regions. Again, if you are familiar with synchronous, regions, once you have a sketch, a region is a fundamental part of synchronous technology where you can just click that region that's made from a sketch and start working with it, extrude it, for example, or make a cutout. Right, so that's been added to order now. Right, so now you can use, again, the steering wheel synchronous type commands in conjunction with the traditional direct modeling commands like move and rotate that you might be familiar with in ordered to really improve the ability to create and edit your sketches and models in ordered mode. The interface in some of these pictures you may have already noticed, yes, the interface has actually, not completely, it's been modified. It's definitely been modified. All the commands and ribbons are still there. Just icons and then the layout looks slightly different colors, things like that. But all the commands are still, in the same spot and whatnot. So nothing too crazy that's going to interrupt you by any means. Just a slightly different look. All right, it's a little bit cleaner, more modern, if you will. All right, one other enhancement is the context toolbar. Now, this actually came out in a couple environments last year, if I recall correctly, but they've added this to a few more environments. So if you click on an entity, for example, in the graphics window, you'll see this little pop-up context toolbar with the most commonly used commands that you might be using next, right? This is a great productivity enhancer. Now, if you are familiar with Xcelerator's portal in the past, or Xcelerator Share, for example, you may have seen this visual explode capability. That's actually been added into the standard assembly mode now. So instead of actually having to go into the explode environment and create an explosion, you can use this much quicker tool just to kind of get a visual representation of what your overall assembly looks like. And it's instant, right? There's no delay here, which is extremely impressive in my opinion. It's crazy that you can do this with huge assemblies, as you can see here. There's actually been some enhancements to the capture fit, so you can capture common relationships that you've applied to existing parts in the model and quickly replay or apply those to when you're placing them in the assembly. The color palette or style palettes, that's been greatly enhanced. There's the ability to drag and drop different styles. They added a ton of different additions here, as you can see. And even when you right click, you have some new enhancements as well to speed up your process. Alrighty, let's jump into the interoperability enhancements. Right, you can now actually transfer your Saratech data to and from some other Xcelerator portfolio products like NX, Process Simulate, Technomatics product, right, just as an example. So there was a lot of work done, of course, to be able to do this, but what it is, it lets you exchange important design information, kinematic information, for example, joints, couplers, links, all these moving parts, for example. And again, what it lets you do is tie into these other Xcelerator portfolio products. So if you've seen or used Technomatics Process Simulate, for example, or NX MTD, like a mechanical concept designer, and lets you integrate with that, as you can see here. There's actually a lot more than just the kinematics, right? Not just the joints and things like that, but the materials, the physical properties that you've assigned in Saratech, those are now automatically integrated or translated into NX, for example. There's also been some enhanced PMI capabilities that were enhanced, so section views, model views, associating or sketching section view dimensions to a design body. Right? There's just a ton of enhancements here. CAD Direct, this actually came out last year as well, CAD Direct, where you can actually insert, well, last year it started with just NX files, but now with 2023, they've enhanced it to work with SolidWorks, JT, Step, and Parasolid, and these are parts and assemblies. And what it is instead of opening or in translating those that foreign data, if you will, and converting it, going through that translation, conversion, saving it as a solid edge file, and then bringing that into your assembly, you can just bring it in directly, right? You're in a solid edge assembly, you can bring in an NX, SolidWorks, JT, Step, Parasolid file, bring it directly into solid edge assembly, and it doesn't do that translation. So it greatly simplifies your file structure, right? Obviously time, right? There's a lot less computation going on behind the scenes without having to do those translations and conversions. This is a great productivity enhancement here. And this is great, of course, as you can imagine, when you're working with your customer suppliers, right? You can bring in some purchased parts into your models without translating them and complicating a file structure and parts of this, for example, if you don't need to. All right, model-based definition. This is another add-on tool that's been around for a couple years now. They've added some great enhancements here. There is an advanced PMI enhancement. You can use some real high-quality dimensioning for your downstream PMI applications. So drawings are still, very important for many businesses, but there's quite a few companies out there that have really moved to this MBD or model-based definition, where they're using the 3D model directly. Right? There's some companies that are honestly done with 2D drawings. Right? They're using the 3D model directly. So that's what we're talking about here, in case you're not familiar. Now they've added quite a few enhancements here. You can see automatically creating these PMI dimensions. You can save these schemes in templates. You can automatically check if parts are under or over constrained. Right? There's tons of things that they added here. The model palette, as you can see here on the right side, that pops out. This lets you manage all of your views and dimensions that you've created. Really simplifies the creation and even your drawings. You can create drawings from these views that you create, these model views. Right, some additional MBD support here with annotating your 3D model. So these text box animations lets you add notes and various other information as 3D PMI, as you can see here. Your notes and text boxes can be saved to the library, which of course saves tons of time. And you can, of course, choose how you want to display these. So you can set them to show always parallel to the screen, right? So as you're rotating, these PMI annotations aren't, rotating at some angle which you can't even see anymore, right? So you can just leave them parallel to the screen, so you can always read them. All right, here's another tool that they've added, Solid Edge Inspector. This is a very nice enhancement which will automatically generate inspection data and reports that's reliable, right? That you can trust, and it enables seamless communication in your downstream manufacturing processes. I really think this is going to be a big time saver for some people. As you can sort of see here from the pictures, what this does is it automatically identifies, labels, and extracts critical design characteristics from your 3D models and drawings. You can see unique identifiers are assigned that are actually linked to this information over the entire life cycle. So through revisions, it actually is automatically maintained and associated and updated. Again, this is a huge time saver, in some cases, than manually creating all of this information. And for downstream consumption, this communication is seamless. You can extract this data into different formats, like Excel, for example. First article inspection or FAI reports can automatically be generated, which is of course critical for inspection planning. These FAI reports can help you find errors that might be found later in the project life cycle, which is of course much more efficient, much more cost effective to find at this point rather than later. All right, let's jump into simulation. one of the largest enhancements here is the ability to simulate on convergent models. This is huge. They actually also added to the body mesh command if you had used that in the recent version. So in theory, or not in theory, I mean, when you use generative design, for example, there's actually some stress analysis going on. Now, in some cases, right, some customers may want to run full-blown simulation on those generative design models. So that's what they've added here in SolidX 2023. So you can basically mesh a mesh, if you will. It's really impressive, right? You can perform simulation studies on these convergent models where you're mixing generative design, right? These optimized shapes, but also stand models where you're doing reverse engineering. They also enhanced the body mesh command. It's really impressive that they added that a couple years ago. Last year, I think it was, for parts, and now they've actually added the body mesh command for sheet metal and even assemblies. Right, a couple more enhancements to the day-to-day simulation type stuff. Duplicating meshes, it's a great timesaver there. So if you have a different analysis, but your mesh is the same, you don't have to remesh. You can just use that basically. There's some really useful element quality checks that they've added here, as you can see in the image, and also some enhancements of graphical reports for inspecting results. Generative design talks a little bit about that, but there's some enhancements there. They've added a new planar symmetry command. There's a maximum displacement constraint to help you create your generative design studies faster and more accurately, and consider manufacturability in there as well. And speaking of manufacturing, let's jump into some of the CAM Pro enhancements. They just keep going. Now, hopefully most of you are aware that as of a couple of versions ago, or maybe it was last year, your licenses, as long as they're maintenance, of course, you actually get a 2.5 axis, what they call included CAM, with your licenses. I mean, it's really impressive. But you can, of course, add on that, right? These CAM Pro capabilities keep growing. There's new 5-axis roughing. So you can spend less time creating your CNC programs. You can, of course, generate better toolpaths, and of course, just overall faster machining throughput. There's a new rotary machining for 4-axis, and also a new wire EDM functionality. Right. Lastly, there's also been enhancements to the post hub with smart machine kit simulations, or MKS. Right. So if you're not using CAM Pro, if you're outsourcing that, there's again, I mean, there's never been a better time to look at the available CAM functionality that SolidX gives you here. Technical publications, there's been some great enhancements to usability, workflows, animations to help you create these work instructions, assembly documentation. They really improved the interface here, kind of a more like Office, if you will, and other programs that most of us are used to. So great enhancements to the UI there. They simplified some of the workflow. They added some abilities for flashing and fading parts during your animations here for these storyboards. Tons of enhancements for the leader lines, for example, outlining them. And again, the ability to use simplified parts and assemblies really improves the efficiency here. All righty, value-based licensing. This was a huge one. You may have heard of this or even used it with some other software out there. Even some of the Siemens products actually has this, and now it's available for SolidX as of 2023. It is part of SaaS subscriptions. So you do need to have a SaaS product, right? A SaaS subscription, and if you are interested in accessing this, please reach out to us. We can, of course, help you switch to that subscription license. So what is this, right? If you're not familiar with it, well, first let me just mention, well, what is it available for? As of now, I should say, there's 8 add-on products. So If you sporadically tend to or may need to use generative design, point cloud visualization, electrical routing, advanced AMI, simulation, standard and advanced, and express route. If you have ever used any of these, or if you have purchased these, or if you wish you had access to these, this is a great enhancement that you really need to look at. And by the way, they are gonna be, from what I hear, they're gonna be adding some additional tools here to the tokens or this value-based licensing. But for now, this is what you can access. So what is it? Well, it basically gives you a pack, right? You can choose in packs of 25 or 50 a number of tokens, and each of those add-on products that I just listed consumes a set number of tokens, right? I'll just say, let's say you have 50 and you open up generative design. It might check out, I don't know, 10 tokens, right? So you have 40 left to open anything else, right? And this is, of course, shared across multiple users. And once you close generative design, then it checks those tokens back in. So it's not, one-time use, right? It's not like a standard token that that you might use at an arcade where you use it and then lose it. No, these are actually reusable, right? It's a pool of tokens that you can use to access all of these different add-ons. So this is a huge cost saver if you use any of these products as practice. And I should mention that because if you are, for example, if you have any users that are let's go back on a slide here. If you have any users that are, full-time users of any of these products, then it might be cheaper, in the long run to just have the actual add-on purchased outright. But if you just use some of these tools, every now and then this is a really good licensing option to look at. Alrighty, let's go ahead and wrap up here. So again, the SolarEdge portfolio supports this digital transformation that I started the webinar talking about, right? There's many things going on in basically every industry. So you really need, if you haven't yet, you really need to take, a close look, maybe a higher level look at the company, at your processes, and really make sure that you're using SolarEdge and all these tools that you use to the best of their ability, to the best that you all can do as a company. And we're here to help. Saratech, Siemens, of course, as you saw in the earlier slides, they're really doing a great job of giving you access to all the tools that you need to improve your workflow. So you can, of course, continue to have your perpetual licenses that some of you might have, but now you have the new SaaS and cloud-enabled license options and all of that it gives you. If you want to learn more, look at scan this QR code, go to the website, reach out to us, whatever it is. We can talk more about any of these topics that I showed you today. If you have not been to the community, please do. It's just community.sw.siemens.com. As you can see here, there's tons of information on there. If you have any questions, lots of people are constantly posting questions and answers on there. If any of you are not a current SolarEdge user, here is a link and QR code if you want to access a 30-day trial. This is a full access trial, so please do give that a look if you are not a current user.
Thanks for checking out our channel. If you like what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any new videos. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter for the latest engineering news and information. And to see all of our upcoming events, please visit our website at saratech.com/events.